Yo, what's up boys? Stoic Tang here with another YouTube video. We're back at it. Today we're going to be talking about not being shackled by chains, not being shackled by the people trying to drag you down and by the distractions of your life. Because we've been walking and thinking about the life that we're living right now. And you know this, and I know this, that we're being shackled by things, by life, by distractions, by people. And we're sitting in places where we don't feel exactly welcomed, where we don't feel exactly in the right spot. We're just sitting, we're absorbing the information, we're looking at people in a different way. And sometimes those people that you look at aren't the way they seem. Not everyone's gonna have the same perspective. Not everyone's gonna have the same thoughts, the same mindset. And you've just gotta be okay with letting people do what they want to do. Because you, yourself, are going to have a different perspective. You're going to be a person that has opinions, that has a different kind of mindset. And sitting here right now, the video you're trying to create is just something that is different. It's unique. It's not just another concept. It's not just another idea in your mind. You decide to put something in reality, to finally produce something instead of consuming, to finally put something out there so you get noticed by not only yourself, but by the people around you. And you're not seeking the attention, you're not seeking the validation. You're only here trying to make the difference for other people, trying to make the difference for even if nobody sees you doing the work. It's the work under the silence, under the darkness, because that's the work that's considered to be the most substantial work that you're ever going to have. That work in the silence, in the darkness, in the quiet is a work that cannot ever be replaced. That type of work that you're putting in right now, nobody sees, nobody understands, nobody gets it. But then you do know, yourself, you do know that it's gonna work out. You do know that the reading, the hours, the working out, the thinking, the brainstorming, all of it's gonna eventually work out. And you know that. That's why you consistently put in the work, you consistently put in time, you allot the time spaces for yourself. Because you know that as long as there's some sort of consistency, as long as there's some sort of discipline in each and every day, then you do know that eventually it's gonna pay off. Eventually you're gonna get the real good money. Eventually you're gonna have the real good life. Eventually you're gonna have the real good partner. So that really ties back into patience. Being patient for what you want, being patient with your actions, being patient with your decisions and your choices. Because right now, in this moment of your life, you are young. Or you could be a little older, but majority of the people who are watching this video, you are young. You're basically probably a young teenager, or you're a person in your 20s, and you're thinking about life in a different way. You think about life philosophically because you decided that you wanted to be something else, somebody else. You don't want to just stay this average, mediocre person. You want to be somebody that changes the world, that changes the life in front of you, that at least changes the community in front of you. Or a person that changes themselves, changes their mindset, changes their values, becomes kind and undesperate, unneedy for attention and from other people's validation. Because you know that you've got yourself. At the end of the day, if nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to walk with you, if nobody wants to be there for you, you've got you. And that's the biggest blessing you've got to thank God for every single day, bro. Because the thoughts in your mind are only controlled by your external environment. They're only controlled about what you see, about what you feel, about what you hear. And everything that you consume is eventually gonna come out in some sort of way. It's eventually gonna show. It's eventually gonna pay off as you keep trying to say. Because why would you try and put an effort for something that doesn't pay off at the end? It's because you have this vision in you. You have this vision that you know that I'm gonna make it, that I'm gonna make this happen. Because you're not a person just to wait for it. You're not a person just to wait for progress, just to wait for continuous effects. You're a person that chases the thing, that pursues. But then it kind of rolls back to the theory of I don't chase, I attract. But in the sense of how are you going to attract something if you don't work on yourself? How are you going to achieve something if you don't work towards it? It's not necessarily chasing, it's not necessarily pursuing, but it's about putting the actions that deserve to be in this slot for you to improve, and then actually putting the decisions of your life in those actions. And then you will be a person that's deserving of the thing that you want, that's deserving of a pure kind of love, of a pure innocent love, that's deserving of that 8-figure business, that's deserving of anything that you want. You have to be that person. You have to build that mindset. You have to build those values. You have to build the principles. It doesn't just all come onto your mind like an insane person. Like, you're not psychotic because you don't know everything. You're not psychotic because you have to learn everything from the scratch. Because that's what we do. We learn everything from scratch. From the day we're born, we learn things from scratch. From day zero, we couldn't walk, we couldn't talk, we couldn't breathe. Well, we could breathe, but you know what I'm saying. Majority of the things we had to learn. And if you want to be more educated, if you want to learn more about some specific topic, you have to put in the action towards it. You have to be a person that consumes in the right way, that consumes the necessary information. Because you could say that you're working as hard as you need to. You could say that I'm going to put in all this work and eventually I'm going to win. But what is winning in that case? What is winning if you can't put in the right actions? What is winning if you have the excuses that keep building and piling up? Winning is making sure that you put the time allotted. Is making sure that you have that time of each day to put in the correct work. Winning is the 1% of progress every time you wake up. Now, I don't care if you sleep for 5 hours a day. I don't care if you think you deprogress every day. As long as there's a time slot, as long as there's some time that you put in that work, I promise you, it's going to pay off. It's going to be better than you've ever imagined. It's going to be amazing, bro. It's going to be worthwhile. You can see the passion in my eyes. I'm not here just to joke about the topic, just to joke about what I'm speaking about. I'm talking about the real truth of what I've seen happen, of what's happened to me. Because not only did I try to put in the actions, I also tried to believe, to manifest, to have that mindset already brewing in my mind. You see the people with the greatest mindsets in the world, those professional athletes, those multi-billion-dollar tech bros. Do you really think they didn't work as hard? Do you really think they weren't working as hard as they needed to, waking up at 5 a.m. just to put in that workout, just to put in that session of coding, just to learn something more? And those people, they overworked themselves to the point of exhaustion. They overworked themselves to the point where they couldn't, they didn't want to do those things, yet they still did it. Those days when it's hard, those days when it's tough, when you have to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning just to work out, just to study a little more, those are the days that you have to show up. You hear this from Michael Phelps, you hear this from Conor McGregor, you hear this from Mark Zuckerberg. They all say the same thing. You can read it in books, you can see it in TikTok clips, you can see it in real life. But seeing it and living the way that they speak about are two different things. They're two completely different things. You cannot just consume and then expect for it to work for you. You have to be the person to make that right, to make that decision, to not only take in information, but to start getting that pencil, writing down your story, bro. I don't know whose pencil this was, but it was a good addition to the quote. Every person and every piece of information that you've seen that has great wisdom, that has great knowledge, that has great intellect. There are millions of books, yet you keep reading and reading and reading, but you never put in the action. And how do you expect for something to work? I speak about the same thing nearly almost every day, but in different types of shapes and forms. And if you can't figure out the message in your mind, you can't decode the problem, you can't solve the puzzle, then how do you expect for yourself to be a person that achieves what you want?